Thank you for listening to this PodcastOne production. Now available on Apple Podcasts, PodcastOne, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.
PodcastOne presents the Steve Austin Show Classics.
Last episode, had to cut this conversation short. The show continues today, talking to the Nature Boy, the greatest professional wrestler who's ever lived. I'm going to shut the fuck up. Mo Darwich, fly on the wall, stealth control, running the controls. Back in, conversation with the Nature Boy. Oh, man, coming back from break. It's hard to take a break because we're talking about Stan Hansen versus Lex Luger, and Stan Hansen with a vicious clothesline, spitting tobacco all over the total package. But anyway,
well, he was blind. He used to throw me in the rope and say, "Come on off, kid. I'll give you the clothesline." And that's when a clothesline was a clothesline, right?
Yeah. One
time I had a blade in my hand, and he said, "I'll clothesline. You get the blood now, right?" He threw me off. He hit me so hard, I had a doctor to take the blade out of my head.
The blade got stuck.
He was blind. He's looking like this. Come on.
I always heard it didn't have such good vision, and I was barely.
He couldn't see a foot.
I was barely in WCW, and I only met Stan a few times, but he was always very nice to me.
What a great guy!
Yeah, he was a super guy. He had such great success in Japan.
Unbelievable. He and Brody were over like nobody over there, man.
Why was that?
No, and Dory and Terry.
Yeah, you got Dory and Terry were big in
Japan. Yep. Terry.
God, but let's talk about that Dory Funk, Terry Funk, two great singles wrestlers who could tag. But we're on top. We're talking about tag team wrestling. We're talking about Arn and Tully, a great tag team.
Phenomenal.
Nick and Ray Stevens.
Yes,
another great tag team.
Yeah.
Who's another tag team that you liked?
I said Orton and Slater. Over the years.
How about Briscoe Brothers?
Oh, of course, yeah. God, you kidding me? But the rib was with
the
Briscoes.
Got any Briscoe stories?
Oh, of course I do. I'm with Don Kernoodle. Me and Don Kernoodle are wrestling the Briscoes, right? So I go to Jerry Briscoe. One tackle dropped down, and then give me a hip lock coming off the rope, and Jerry dropped down. I would never try this with Jack, right?
Yeah.
So I jumped on top of Jerry.
Yeah.
Right? And I didn't stay. I wasn't there long.
Yeah.
But I tagged in Kernoodle, and they stretched Kernoodle for 30 minutes. Are you kidding me? Oh, my God.
To my listeners, what's happening is Rick is saying, on tackle drop down, the person is going to lay down, face down on the mat while the guy runs over the top of him to continue the spot. Well, what Rick did was jump on top of him and ride him amateur style.
No, I didn't ride him.
But you got on top of him.
I was on top of him.
You were on top
for
of
about
him
6
briefly.
seconds.
And to two shooters like the Briscoes, Jack and Jerry were,
that didn't work.
You did not do that.
No.
So when you tagged in Kernoodle got stretched.
I got a great story for you, too.
Go ahead.
Well, Jack Briscoe, we're in Asheville, right? Jack's a world champion. And Jack and I and Jerry were real close, as was Piper and I, right? So I go to Briscoe. I'm gonna bet Piper $100 that he can take you down. Of course, I smartened up Briscoe, right?
Yeah.
So I grabbed Tommy Young and I go, because we're separate dressing rooms, right? I said, go tell Piper I got $100 as he can't take that. Of course, Piper's. I think he thought he could if he, not know what was coming, right? I smartened up everybody except those two. So the curtain is sold out. 6,000 people in Asheville, right? So the match goes on for about 10, 15 minutes. I said, Piper ain't gonna try it. Sure enough, he got in and he shot on Jack Briscoe. Wow. So he got Jack's leg up, right?
Yeah.
But Jack has such phenomenal balance. He bounced around on one foot for about 30 seconds, and as soon as Piper got close enough, and the rest of it, Piper never saw anything but the lights the rest of the night. One time I saw him take Matt Bourne, because Matt Bourne thought he was tough, right? And he tried fucking around, screwing around with Briscoe, and he jumped on Briscoe, and about 30 seconds later, Briscoe had him in the angel going, "Look, Mom, no hands." He stretched Bourne for a mile. Jack Briscoe was phenomenal, man. Holy cow.
Hey, tell me something, because when I think Jack Briscoe, I think singles. I think not only of his brother Jerry and a great tag team, but also think of world championships and a singles wrestler. I was reading Terry Funk's book, and Terry's run as NWA World Heavyweight Champion, as you were many times.
Yes.
Terry described, and as it pertained to Jack Briscoe, the load carrying that belt was so extreme that by and large, by the time the run was over, they were ready to get that belt give the belt away so they could get off the pressure, get off the schedule because it was
Jack
relentless.
Briscoe, it's funny. Jack Briscoe flew into Tampa, and that night he's supposed to wrestle for the World Championship, and he walked in at Eddie's office, a true story, and said, "You fly Terry Funk in here tonight. I'm done." And so they flew in Terry. It wasn't even an advertised match, and he dropped the title on Terry. He drove back home and drove on top of that bridge. What's that bridge called in Tampa, the big one?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Took off his wristwatch, threw it in the ocean, and never wore it again. Because at that time, Jack was married to Dory. And he would wrestle Dory every city in the country for an hour a night.
Right.
For 2 years.
Yes.
Jack just said, "I'm done." And when he was done, he was done. You know what I mean? Hell, I've been with the Briscoes, man, when we left Richmond, right, to drive to Charlotte, 300 miles, and we got to Greenville before we realized, which is 100 miles past Charlotte, before we realized we were quiet. Don't get me going on the Briscoe brothers.
Well, let's talk about the grind, though, because anybody that's been on the road has been there. Certainly you have. How did you survive so long with that belt? Because I've heard the stories from Terry Funk or the Jack Briscoe story. Man, I'm ready to get this thing out of here.
Well,
you thrived on it.
I had about 10 years of the 200-hour-long matches, right? Those guys were doing 300 a year,
right?
Not Terry as much as Dory and Jack, you know. But I survived because I love the business, you know, and I couldn't wait to get out there. That was my problem, you know. The 200 people or 20,000, I couldn't wait to get out there.
So you come out of the ring, and man, for me, it's adrenaline. It's a high.
Yeah.
Obviously, you too.
Yeah.
And so, God, man, I'm jumping all over the place here. But now, you still itch to get back in?
Hell yeah. The corner phrase, hell yeah. I'm ready right now. I can't convince corporate of that, but...
Are you talking to WWE about it?
Yeah. Then I haven't, no, but I mean, you know, it's like a joke. 17 times, well, I don't think it's going to happen, but I wouldn't mind trying.
But
John Cena's the only guy I never wrestled.
Right.
Did you ever wrestle John?
No.
Yeah, see, I've wrestled everybody in the business of any recognition except for John.
Well, so then now, how long has it been since you had your last match?
My last match was against Sting. It's been a year and a half.
Okay.
And I separated. I know what I do. I broke my arm, but nobody knew about it.
For a shoot?
Yeah, he super kicked me off the top rope.
Yeah.
And for some reason, my arm landed underneath me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the last time I wrestled.
So a year and a half. And I remember when I got out of business, it was about 3 years before I kind of came to my senses. It took a long time for me to get it out of my blood.
Right, still in my blood.
Yeah. I mean, it's always going to be in my blood, but it took me a long time to get it out of my system and realize, to me,
it's over.
Steve, it's over. I got to turn back to a civilian.
Yeah.
And so now, you know, I do the things that I do. I got a lot of good memories. So, but it ain't got out of your system.
No, it hasn't. No, I mean, it's funny because I'm one of these few guys that I've been able to make the transition.
Yeah.
You know, first it was wrestling, then it became sports entertainment, right? And it's changed drastically.
Yeah.
But the marketing the guys are making more money.
Yeah.
Vince pays everybody's bills. I mean, he takes care of everybody, you know, and you know, I just like hanging around. I love the young guys here. You know, I have a ball with them.
You know, speaking of loving the young guys and loving the business, what was in your career? And I know you have many high points, but what do you consider maybe the highest of highs? Was it a particular year?
The Four Horsemen.
Four Horsemen.
The run with the original group.
Okay, so I wanted to talk
Arn,
about
Ole,
the Four
Tully,
Horsemen.
myself.
What was it about those
against
guys?
Dusty? It was phenomenal, man. It was me. We did war games, right?
Yeah. Say the four names again.
Arn Anderson, Ole Anderson, Tully Blanchard, myself, and J.J. Dillon.
Right.
Yep.
And so you guys started running roughshod.
Yeah.
And whose idea was it to put you guys together?
Arn's.
That was Arn's idea.
Yeah, Arn's idea. And he came
And
up
the name,
with
too,
he
the
came
Four
up with the name of the Four Horsemen.
Oh, genius.
Yeah, Arn's a genius.
I used to watch you guys, and of course, man, I was somewhere in Texas, and I was watching that stuff go down. And brother, let me tell you something. You guys had some heat, and it was force.
We never won in the arena, but
right.
we got a ton of heat on TV.
You got heat on TV, and dude, you know this was before. I can't remember when the Dr. David Schultz stuff happened, but the business hadn't been exposed. Wrestling was still real. It was still kayfabe.
Yeah.
When I watched the Four Horsemen lay down all of a sudden, when you guys broke Dusty's ankle, I was like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Man, you guys laid down
Remember
some
when
heavy
it
stuff.
Ricky Morton's face in the cement?
Watched that the other day.
Yeah. How about the time when I jumped on a steamboat? It isn't funny now, but it was funny then. So we shot this angle where I jumped on a steamboat and rubbed his face in the concrete like I did 10 years later with Morton, right?
Yeah.
And Harley was there, and he says, he tells David Crockett, "You'll buy some sandpaper." So he took steamboat up in the locker room, the poor kid, and Harley took that. He didn't take the light grade, man. He took the stuff, and he,
Scuffed him up.
cut his face first, and then he rubbed it. Steamboat's eye was black for a year.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He was so mad at me.
Hey, you and Harley that did it.
Harley, I didn't do it.
Harley was the real deal.
Yeah.
How much heat did you guys have back then? How hard was it to travel? Because you guys lived the heat. There's a lot of heels in the business these days that are afraid to get hot.
Oh, I loved it.
I did too, but so you guys thrived on it.
Oh my God! The only thing about a Harley that drive me crazy, we'd be somewhere and go in a bar, right, and just come down. You know me, I just want to have a couple of drinks and look around at the scenery, right?
Yeah.
Harley goes, "Watch this," and you go over to a pool table, right? There'll be 20 guys waiting in line to play, and Harley put a quarter down and say, "I got the winner," and they'd go, "Who do you?" He said, "I got the winner." He always wanted to start a fight.
Well, let me ask
I go, "Come up here. We just come up here and calm down." You know Harley, right?
Yeah.
Biting the beer bottle.
Yeah.
I can out chug anybody in the place, right? Now he's betting everybody the bottle because he could. Some guys can open throat, right?
Yeah.
Harley could drink a beer like in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Boom, right? Then we got that bet going on. I go, "Harley, can we we're in Texas, man. These are cowgirls. Let's have some fun. Calm down." He always wanted to beat somebody up.
But here's the thing. It was word on the street was Harley was one tough cat that you didn't want to mess with.
You think?
So, but I never heard about him getting in a whole lot of fights. But he was always.
Oh.
Didn't you take him to Japan with you a couple times to help you out?
Help me out. They sent him as my bodyguard.
That's what I'm saying.
They sent word.
I want to make sure I have my facts straight.
No, they sent word that Geigo called me and said, "You're going to Japan to wrestle through. They want to switch the belt, but we're not going to do it. But so I'm sending Harley with you." So I said, "That's nice. What do you mean? Well, I don't need anybody help. I'm making a joke to myself."
Yeah.
I was glad Harley was going. So Harley was outside the ring, right? And I went an hour with Jumbo, right? And Lord Blair's was the referee.
Yeah.
And it was really a cool deal, but Jumbo didn't sell nothing. You know what is over there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we walked back, and Harley says, "I'll be right back." I said, "Where are you going?" He said, "Follow me. Watch this." So he walks into Bob. Bob was sitting there smoking that big Roytan cigar, right? Which was the deal, right?
Yeah.
And Jumbo was there, and he walked up to Jumbo Saruta, and he slapped him across the face. He said, "If you ever suplex one of my friends again without him calling the spot, I'll beat the crap out of you." Guess what? Jumbo didn't get up and say nothing. Nobody did to Harley Race.
Really?
I'm not kidding you.
Straight up shoot?
Straight up, baby.
God,
Yeah. He walked in there and said, "Watch this." I said, "No, what are you doing now?" I knew what he was doing, right? Whap! He slapped Jumbo across the face, open-handed. I mean,
Yeah.
And Jumbo didn't get up and say nothing. He said, "You ever suplex one of my friends again when he don't call it?" Because, wrestle Jumbo, you'd take 40 back German suplexes.
Right.
That was his gimmick. He was an Olympic, not freestyle, but he was an Olympic Greco-Roman wrestler.
Yeah.
And he won a medal in the Olympics, and he was tough.
Yeah.
But not as tough as Harley Race. Kid, watch this.
I remember one time Harley was telling me a story. I guess someone had played a rib on him. They were somewhere in Texas, so he was going to rib the guy back.
Yeah.
And he goes, "So what I did, I caught a rattlesnake and sewed his mouth shut and put the rattlesnake in the car.
Yeah.
And you should have seen the look on his face when he came to get his car the next day."
You know
And
what?
so, of course, I had to say, "But Harley, how did you catch the rattlesnake?"
With the left. Yeah.
Baited him with the right, hooked him with the left. Come on.
It's the
You
best.
know the story.
It's the best.
It's true.
No,
if
yeah,
Harley Race says something, it's
hey,
true.
let me tell you, the two guys that were the most afraid of snakes in the world were Rocky Johnson and Bob Armstrong. Scared to death. And every time Harley came in the territory, he'd bring a bunch of rubber snakes and throw them on top of them. Christ, I'd never seen that right in my life. Bob Armstrong would run like crazy. When Harley was in town, Bob would lock his room. Because Harley'd figured out a way. He went and got that damn Boken sticker that what's-her-name had. We used to call it Ian calls the Weezerk in Waldorf. It was a dump where we all stayed, right? And the chick that ran the place had a python, and he break down Bob's door and throw that damn python on top of Bob. And Bob's up with a gun. He every time Harley was around, man, and Rocky Johnson, God, Rocky hated him too.
Yeah.
He'd just walk into the building and go, "Hey, Rock, how you doing, man?" And throw a snake at him. Rubber, but it didn't matter.
But going back to the, I was listening to some of your interviews before I came up here and reading, but one of the things that you liked so much about the Horsemen was just the camaraderie, the lifestyle, and like you said, not necessarily hooking up with the chick, but it was hanging out with the guys and the lifestyle. And really, I mean, there's a lot of power that you guys had.
Yeah.
You're highly respected, guys traveling around living life.
We just had a good time, and we loved performing. That's what made it good.
Right.
When we got inducted in the Hall of Fame last year, I said, one thing about us is all we wanted to do was go out and perform. It was the truth.
Yeah.
We all couldn't wait to get there. It was just, just a very unselfish, but as a group, and then eventually Ole got sick. So they brought in Luger, and then we had Barry Windham.
Right.
And Barry was in a class of his own.
Yeah, badass worker.
Yeah. Barry could really work.
Yeah. They're there for a period of years, a couple of years stretch. I mean, that guy had some incredible matches.
6'6", 270 pounds. Barry could work like Steamboat.
Yeah, step off the floor into the ring in one bound.
Yeah.
4 Horsemen. And one more tag team I want to throw in there that I always really love. Well, 2 of them. Midnight Express and Rock and Roll Express.
Oh, God, awesome.
Man, those guys could all work their asses off.
Yeah,
and I don't think they get enough respect.
Yeah, I forget some of the times.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. You kidding? Bobby and...
Stan?
No, not Bobby and Stan. No, Bobby and
Loverboy.
No, the kid that just quit one day. Just quit and walked off.
Who?
God, Bobby Eaton's original partner. Shoot.
I don't remember his original partner.
It wasn't Stan Lane. It was...
What, Loverboy Dennis Condrey?
Dennis Condrey.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Dennis Condrey. Yeah. I didn't know that was Loverboy. Yeah. Dennis just said one day, I'm gone. Left.
Is that what happened to him?
Yeah.
Because I love the original incarnation, but then all of a sudden he was gone.
Dennis just one day said, I'm gone, and left.
Why was that?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I always was very close to Bobby Eaton as I am now. Bobby, by the way, just had a heart bypass. Did you know that?
No.
He just had a heart bypass done last week.
Oh, yeah, I heard something about that.
He's had congestive heart failure. Bobby's not in a good
what
shape.
brings that on? A congestive heart failure thing.
You know who else has got it? Jack Mulligan's got it right now.
Yeah.
It's a heart disease that.
Well, Barry Windham wasn't in a good way about a year ago. Is he okay?
Yeah. Well, Barry had a stroke and a heart attack at the same time on Jack's property. Wow. Everybody thought that somebody came and beat him up. He was beat up so bad, and he almost died. But he made it. He actually got out of the hospital. Which, by the way, Vince paid all his bills. Yeah. They weren't even working for him, right? He just got out of the hospital 2 days in time to come to Miami and get inducted in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm sitting here talking to Ric Flair. I'm looking at him. My mind is all over the place. Yeah. We got to talk about your feud with Terry Funk. You guys had some classics. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I Quit, man. In Troy, New York. Were you there that night?
No, I saw the match a couple of times.
Yeah. Terry would let me smack like you.
Yeah.
Terry would let me smack him, and if the guy would let me hit him.
Yeah.
It became real. And Terry would let me smack the crap out of him. He always tells me the story with Terry last week, and he tells the story with the I Quit match, right? He goes. I go, I say I quit. And he go, no. I go, yes. No, yes. That's the true story. So finally, I said, say you quit. No. I go, okay, no. He went, yes. So I got him to do it. Then Muda and him kicked my ass anyway, so it didn't matter. Yeah.
But it was interesting, such a different style between Dory Funk Jr.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
A worker in his own right.
Yeah.
I mean, a badass wrestler.
Yeah.
But such a different style than Terry.
Well, Terry, first of all, Terry was when he was younger, the classic wrestler, right?
Right.
But Terry is one of those guys where Dory's just a conservative guy, but
right.
Dory was a master technician.
Yes.
And man, could he blow you up. He put a hold on you and lean on you, man.
Yeah.
One, and then slam, slam me, grab it again, slam me. By the time an hour was over, he slammed him 47,000 times.
But that old leaning veteran trick.
Oh, man, he'd lean on you.
Yeah.
1, 2. 1, 2. God, it was killing you. And then I had first time I wrestled Dory Funk Jr. I had never had that undercut thing, right, which is popular now with some other guys. So I'm wrestling him in St. Louis and got him thrilled to death, and he backs me in the corner, right, and gave me that flipper and knocked my goddamn tooth through my lip. Oh. I never took it before.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah,
that
they were
was
snug.
in there. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Joe wrestle him? That thing
No,
was
I never
really-
have, but
Yeah.
I mean, he laid those flippers
Yeah,
in
Mike
there.
Rotunda was.
So then,
easy.
what'd you think? Your tooth is through your lip. What's going on? It's like, what the fuck is this?
I just pulled my lip out of my tooth and said, I got to do an hour. Jesus. I was more worried about having to slam him 35 times in an hour than I was about my tooth.
You and Terry Funk in the ring. You guys are almost identical in age, probably,
Okay,
right?
I'm 64. Terry, Harley just turned 71. So Terry is 70.
Okay, Terry's 70. Two cats in the ring, probably almost about the same time in the business. Who's calling that match?
50-50.
50-50.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Just chipping in here and there.
Yeah. But once again, chemistry.
Yeah, chemistry.
Terry and I, he's trying to get me to book a match with him now in a corral in Dallas and sell it like the thing him and Lawler did in the empty stadium.
Yeah.
He said, it'll sell like hell. I said, Terry, you're out of your mind.
What was interesting to me about Terry, because I was telling him that, didn't he start doing the
Hardcore
moonsault off the top turnbuckle into the crowd?
Yeah.
And I was like, what? The pure wrestling background that he came from, second, third generation guy.
Yeah.
And then he started doing that towards the end when he was already beat up.
Yeah.
He got a couple more years too.
Yeah.
So
he went to work for ECW.
Yeah.
And he
And then, of course, went over to Japan with Nick and beat the
yeah.
living shit out of each other and so many bar explosion matches.
Yeah.
So I think he's feeling a little rough now.
Yeah.
But I talked to him a few months ago. And
Terry?
Yeah, he sounded great.
Yeah, but 2 knee replacements,
yeah.
hip replacement, and they took 12 inches of the intestine out last year. That diverticulosis type thing. Yeah, Terry's been through hell.
Now, he retired several times and came back. Did you retire several times and come back? Or you never really actually retired?
Well, I retired
after the
Hall of Fame. But
yeah.
then I let Hogan talk me into going to TNA.
Right.
Yeah, and I tried that for a while. But
well, let's talk about that. How was the dynamic of TNA after coming from WWE, which and like I told you last night in the green room, when I think Ric Flair, my picture in my mind is NWA in the Carolinas and that Crockett Promotions, and I don't want to define it purely as that, but I mean that's what I think.
Yeah,
and that's what I think. Big time, great, real wrestling.
Yeah.
So what was the atmosphere in TNA?
Well, you just hit the nail on the head. After you've worked for Vince McMahon, it's totally different. But I will tell you this: I love the guys there, and I had a good time.
Absolutely.
They got some really good performers there.
Yeah.
And I was with Kurt, with Sting, and I
I just meant from an atmosphere standpoint because
from business standpoint.
Yeah, just because with there's been so many people who are having hands in booking this, but from a leadership perspective, there's not really a wrestling brain there.
They had Bruce Pritchard and just fired him. And
I don't understand that.
Yeah,
Bruce is a very smart cat,
a very smart guy, and he came from 20 years of being up here.
Yeah,
and you would think, but they beat to their own drum. I don't get it.
Who's booking that thing now?
Huh?
Who's booking that thing now?
I have no idea. I think Eric and Hulk.
Yeah. How was Dixie to work with?
Dixie was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how long can they keep that ship afloat? I mean,
I don't think much longer.
I mean,
they're making live TV now.
I know. I'm just saying. I mean, it's an expensive bill.
Yeah.
How long can?
Well, I don't know. Her father's tremendously wealthy, but at some point in time, you got to say, man,
a write-off becomes a loss.
Yeah.
But they do have some good young talent over there.
Oh, tremendous.
I've been pleasantly surprised with what Bully Ray has done.
Yeah.
To come from a very established tag team to turn into a singles run. And he's taking the ball and running with it. I got to say, I take my hat off to him.
Yeah, no, I like him too. He works his butt off. He and D'Lo got that, not D'Lo, but what's Billy Ray's partner?
Bubba Ray.
Bubba Ray's partner. What's his name? From the old days.
Devon.
Yeah, Devon. Yeah, they got a wrestling school there. And they do that. Yeah, and they. But Bubba Ray he's done tremendous. Yeah, God, he's just and you know what? He caught his niche. Took him a while to figure it out as a singles wrestler, but But
he did,
of course. But here's the deal: typical of TNA, and you probably don't even know this story, right? So he's getting ready to marry Brooke Hogan.
Yeah.
Did you see that, right?
Yeah, I saw it.
And then Brooke went and got engaged to one of the Dallas Cowboys.
Right. Kayfabe, brother.
Kayfabe.
You got to protect the business, protect the storyline.
I guess they're winning next week and TNA is off.
Golly, man, I'm fixing to take a break. I'm coming back with Ric Flair. Out of all stuff, and man, I can't talk to the guy forever, but I've got some more conversation with him. I cannot let this conversation go without talking about Sting.
Great.
I remember coming down to WCW Center Stage TV. I was just to get a look or maybe have a tryout, and Sting was on fire. You were there. It was center stage, great atmosphere, a little bitty building, and a classic opponent for you. And you really brought that guy from nowhere to superstar on your back. So we're going to talk about that when we come back. A few more questions and some other stuff, and some other pitfalls of the road. But, man, my brain's spinning. I'm not looking at anything. It's just a great conversation. Mo Darwin, stealth mode, recording, audio whoop-ass history with the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Hey, man, do you own or rent your home? Sure you do, and I bet it can be hard work. You know what's easy? Bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowners or renters insurance along with your auto policy. It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com.
Welcome to the Steve Austin Show.
All right, coming back out of a break. Thanks to the sponsors. Keep the damn show on here. I'm sitting here talking to the Nature Boy. Rick, can I get a woo? Woo! Finally. Woo! There we go. We took a little break. We started talking about everything else. Rick ordered up a couple of beers apiece, fixed a crack, opened a cold one, and we were talking about what we were talking about before we went to break. I wanted to talk about Sting because I remember I took a test visit down to Atlanta. I actually drove up, talking about Matt Bourne earlier. I drove down to Atlanta with Matt Bourne from Dallas, Texas, and got a look at the center stage setup, watched Sting perform. You were there. It was absolutely insane. And, this is right when I guess he had started working with you.
Yeah, and, he came from Louisiana.
Yeah, he came from Louisiana.
He broke in with Bill.
Broke in with Bill Watts.
Yeah.
And,
he broke in out here.
Out here?
Yeah, with, what's the guy's name?
With Jim Hellwig.
No, not Hellwig. No. The promoter out here. That does
the promoter out here.
Can't think of his name.
Well, I can't remember. But anyway, down there working with Blade Runner and Rock.
Yeah.
As, what was the name of that tag team? It escapes me. But anyway, they split up.
Yeah.
Sting comes to the Blade Runners. That's who they were.
Yeah, exactly.
My bad. I was a big fan. So anyway, Sting's there.
And Hellwig goes to New York.
Yeah. And I would watch I'd watch Dingo Warrior, Jim, when he was in Dallas, World Class Championship Wrestling while I was going to school there. And he would go and become the Ultimate Warrior and have a great career. But there Sting was. And so there you are, the man. What did you think when you first met Sting? Because you're the guy that really put him on the map.
Sting's one of those guys that, what can you say? Just the nicest kid in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and all he wanted to do was learn. And he had the greatest look. I mean, that look back then with the paint and the
long trunks
and the crew cut and all
a lot
the
of neon green
and all that stuff. Yeah, and I mean, he had a phenomenal physique. He looked like $1 million, and like Steamboat, I said, let me have this guy.
He had a lot of fire. He had a lot of charisma. And that Atlanta crowd, I mean, the local crowd really came to him, and then worldwide did as well. Yeah. But, I mean, he really found a home there and found a following.
Yeah. We did that 45-minute draw in Greensboro on the Clash of Champions. That got like an 8.5 rating. It was against WrestleMania.
Right.
Yeah.
When was it? I remember when he tore his patella tendon, and I was thinking, my God.
That was Corpus Christi.
Yeah.
Clash of Champions, same thing.
And he went down. I didn't think he was going to make it back.
Neither did I. I didn't. I'm the one that, what happened is climbing into the cage.
Yeah.
We were beating the crap out of, I can't remember who.
Getting heat on someone.
It was a night that we said, hey, we only gave him 30 minutes, right, to become, it was a great segment, right?
Right.
And I can't remember what happened, but anyway, we started beating the hell out of somebody, and Steve came down to make the save. He climbed the cage, and I knocked him off the cage. He fell down and tore the patella tendon. I didn't know it. And then, worse than that, as I climbed out of the cage and through the door and ran and jumped on top of him on the ramp.
Yes.
And I had no idea that he was hurt. Oh, it felt terrible.
So he goes down. He comes back, and of course,
he was out for a year.
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, that's a serious deal. But he made the comeback, and but it was you that put him on the map.
Well, I think I had something to do with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who else was you working major programs with?
Nobody.
I mean,
we were married for 3 years.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You got to take a little responsibility here.
Yeah. No, but I mean, we
don't get me wrong. You got to get yourself over.
It was like working with Steamboat, though.
Exactly.
He wasn't the technician by any means that Steamboat was, because he hadn't had time to learn.
Yeah.
But he had ton of fire, and he had $1 million look, and man, the people loved him.
And that's the thing. You don't have to be the greatest worker, and he's a very good worker, but you don't have to be the greatest worker in the world, a pure worker, to get over.
Yeah.
You need something. And so when you went to TNA all these years later, and of course he's running strong over there.
Yeah.
He looks as good as ever. He's cutting he's cutting the best promos of his life.
Yeah.
And he's on top over there.
Yeah.
And he just keeps on ticking. He's had a wonderful career. It amazes me that he's never gone to New York.
Well, that's the thing, and he's the only guy that can't crack the drink. He just won't even have a drop.
That's willpower.
I know.
Okay, that's great. You just said something. Alcohol in the road, and pills. You said you never were a big pill guy.
Never pills in my life. A lot of alcohol.
But you weren't a dope smoker either.
No, I never smoked dope in my life. No,
and you damn sure weren't using needles.
No cocaine, nothing.
Okay,
no.
but you were just a drinker.
Just a drinker.
Well, that was my thing, man.
Yeah.
I love the whiskey, the vodka, the beer, and then I got a red wine kick. If I had a bad injury, I'd take a pain pill here or there.
Yeah.
But I never got carried away like a lot of these guys do. And so many of the pitfalls that go with, I don't want to say specific to pro wrestling, but the entertainment industry in general, and certainly a business like professional wrestling, where you can be, introduced to a lot of pain, but guys start taking those pills out of boredom just to get a buzz. And so many of our friends and brothers and sisters are gone because of that.
Yeah.
And I mean, come on, dude. Why is that, Rick? Is it specific to pro wrestling? Are we wired a little bit different?
I use one word.
What?
Choice.
Nobody
makes anybody do that, But the thing of it is, the schedule with wrestling is a little bit different, because we're out of the building at 11 o'clock at night, right? And then you're on a 7 o'clock flight in the morning, right? So I just went and got, I just went and drank, right?
Yeah.
But some guys are taking downers to go to sleep at night, and then they're taking uppers to get up in the morning, and they're eating pain pills.
Yeah.
And then
in the middle of the day.
Huh?
In the middle of the day.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. Yeah.
It's just a vicious cycle, and I always got.
But I mean, I'm sure that goes on in other sports too. I mean,
oh, absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, when you look at the death rate per our industry, guys are dropping like flies. I mean, you had the famous saying one time, and I think this will jar your memory. You were talking about piss on a bunch of rock and roll stars. They're not doing what we're doing.
Hell no.
You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, what did I say? I can't remember.
About partying like a rock star.
Yeah.
Those guys couldn't hold shit to the lifestyle that we lead.
We would have put Keith Richards to bed.
but with the physical toll,
exactly.
Exacted in the ring, the training, the gym work, and then the. Okay, we got it. We got beers coming in. That's okay. We leave this in, Mo. Yeah. Mo, my main man, is going to get the beer that the Nature Boy just ordered. But
I didn't order it. You ordered it.
I ordered the beer. I'll take the credit for that. But it's like living a life of a pro athlete. And hey, guys,
it's rough. I mean, if you think about it, and I mean, I don't even care for the game myself, but 160 baseball games. Yeah. Are you kidding me? It's too long.
Yeah,
160 games they play.
Yeah, it's.
I'm surprised more of those guys aren't down.
Well, I mean, that's why a lot of them guys were doing uppers, and then they started popping them on the uppers. But it's like, dude, how you stay up when you got to work a 162 game schedule?
Yeah, I mean 160.
And again, I'm not trying to put an indictment on baseball. They got enough problems with everybody.
No. Neither am I. I'm just saying that it's an unbelievable schedule. I mean, the greatest thing that ever happened for me, and I'm a huge NBA star. Yeah. Was that we went on a strike and came back and only played half a season, so they had to play 4 games a week.
Yeah.
Even 80 games is a long season.
Yeah. We talked about kind of the high period of reversos. I'm drinking this. He's drinking that. Can you open mine there, Mo? Yep. Hang on. All right, Rick, you got to.
It's a working man.
There you go. Cheers.
There we go. Cheers.
Just tipped a beer, swig of beer for the working man. Today the working man is Nature Boy Ric Flair. Hang on while I take a swig of my beer.
Man, that's cold.
We talked about the highest of highs, and you said that was running through a period of years with the Four Horsemen. And so now...
That was the funnest time.
The funnest. But, okay, but before I ask the next question, let me ask this question. You said you lost your confidence in 89.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to talk about that? Because I can't remember why you lost your confidence.
I wrote about it in my book.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't read the book.
Oh, okay, that's right. I didn't either.
So we talked about this. But what happened in 89 that you lost your confidence?
What happened was that I was working for Herd, who I couldn't get along with at all. I mean, I tried everything to get along with.
Why did you guys not see eye to eye?
Because the guy, his claim to fame, and he sold it to Jack Petrick, his claim to fame was that he was the channel manager at the old Chase where we did, he was the channel manager. He knew nothing about wrestling.
Right.
And he was running a Domino's company when they brought him in. He knew nothing about wrestling. I mean, hence the dinglings.
Right.
And he wanted to cut my hair and call me Spartacus.
No, that's a shoot. I read that. That's a shoot. He wanted to give you a change in look.
I did cut my hair for him.
Yeah. I remember the haircut, but he wanted to call you Spartacus on top of that?
He wanted to call me Spartacus, yep.
That's got to be the dumbest shit I ever heard other than the
Well,
ringmaster.
Kevin Sullivan said, why don't you just change Mickey Mantle's name?
Yeah.
I swear to God. But I mean, it really started preying on me, right? Then one day he goes, you're 39 years old. We got to start moving ahead with the youth.
Boy, that's a slap in the face when you're 39.
39. I wasn't even 40 yet.
That's prime.
I wasn't even 40 yet.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't even hit your prime.
He was trying to bury me, you know?
But, so anyway, what happens? He doesn't like you. You don't see eye to eye. You're 39 years old.
So what happened?
Now, as far now to my listeners in wrestling, 39, man, from a storytelling standpoint and a maturity standpoint, man, really that's prime.
Yeah.
You know?
I thought so.
I do. If I'm wrong, and it ain't about athletic performance. If you're trying to be Ray Lewis on Baltimore Ravens defense, maybe not so much, but wrestling, that's prime.
Well, it was 2013, and this happened in 1980. 87 was when he came in. 86. So how old was I then? I mean,
I ain't got to calculate.
Well, it doesn't matter. But
anyway, 39's prime, and you and Hurt ain't seeing eye to eye, and you're losing your confidence. What happened?
Then he called me one day, and I didn't have a contract in place, and he said, "I want you to show up to drop the belt." I said, "I ain't signing." It's the first time I ever took a stand in my life.
Yeah.
I said, "I ain't dropping nothing. Not till you give me my new contract." He kept lying to me, right? And so I went down to Daytona Beach, and he called me, and I said, "I'll tell you what I'll do." They wanted me to drop it to Luger, right? And I said, "I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll drop it to Barry Windham, tell me where to be." And you know what he said to me? He said, "F you.
Yeah.
I'll bury you." And he sent Doug Dillinger,
right,
of all people, over to get the belt.
Right.
Doug just turned me to U-turn and left, right?
Right.
So I called Vince. I said, "I'm coming." He said, "Quit bullshitting me." I said, "No. I mailed him the belt, and he didn't walk around on TV." That was it.
But so, what made you lose your confidence?
I mean, it built
all the
up
mind
to that.
games?
No, once I got out of there, I was fine. But just undermining me all the time. Telling me that I was getting old. Like then I cut my hair, which I wanted to kill myself for.
Yeah, the haircut wasn't the greatest thing in the world from a visual standpoint. But so, what did it do to your match quality? Were you still the same performer in the ring, or
I think for a year, I was not the same in the ring. And I mean, because I had self-confidence issues. I mean, here I'd been in this, been in Four Horsemen. I wrestled all these guys. I've been everywhere, and then all of a sudden, I got a guy telling me that, thing that I mean, my greatest saying is, hence the dinglings. Yeah. Dig a hole outside the ring, and remember that gimmick? Yeah. Lord Jesus.
So you go into WWF, and
I was right back on top. Mentally.
Back on top.
Yep, mentally.
So, but we know that, man, the way I look back at wrestling, each territory has so much history, but that NWA history is just hard to top.
It is.
And I just remember so much more of your career there. But the way Vince McMahon does business, his attention to detail, it is the big leagues.
It is.
Make no mistake about it.
Make no mistake about it.
And don't get me wrong, I'm from WWF.
Yeah.
And I left my body parts all over the damn world working with WWF. So I love the company, but I just have so many memories of you from NWA. So was the atmosphere different? Did you fit right in? Was it just another step down the road for Ric Flair?
It was great. I got here, and it was, I've been friends with DiBiase forever. DiBiase was here, and Hulk was just kind of teeter-tottering back around a little bit then. I think he was getting ready to make Thunder in Paradise. But I'm traveling on the road. I'm working with Henning, working with DiBiase. Terry Taylor was there. I mean, just a great chemistry. I mean, and I'm working with Savage, even though it was a tough time in his life because he was having hell with Liz back then,
right.
you know. But I mean, Randy was still Randy. Randy's a good guy, and you know, I don't want to get involved in that part. But of course, then they had me. Then they had me. No, I didn't want to get involved in his personal life. But then they had me make. We shot that angle where she was mine before she was mine before. That didn't help either. Yeah, you know what I mean. And I was just going okay. You know what I mean. Yeah. But I mean, Bobby Heenan was there. I mean, I just loved it. And you know, with you know, DiBiase and I are to this day very close. I mean, it's a fun crew. Well, Barry Darcel was there. Mike Rotundo.
A great crew.
Yeah.
But let me ask you something. While you're in the business, hot and heavy, Vince McMahon, you know, he bought the territory from his dad, it's WWF, but he's pushing through. It's a territory system.
Yes.
You know, everybody kind of stays in their playground, so to speak. Then Vince McMahon starts using TV. He starts going nationwide, infiltrating other people's territories. You're watching all this go down. You're seeing some of the territories start to disappear.
They all did.
He's absorbing them.
Yeah.
So what's going through your mind as you're watching this process unfold?
Well, actually, for a while, we gave you guys, not you, because you were with us then. We gave you guys a run. Crockett, to this day, I'm going to tell you, if Crockett had stayed east of the Mississippi River and never tried to do California and all that, because our TV, number one, the Super Channel wasn't. I mean, now the Superstation, not Superstation, but the audience or the number of people, the viewers wasn't in California. And we're like we go to Ohio and up to Philadelphia and the building you guys would. They'd be in the Spectrum and we'd be in the Civic Center, 10,000 strong. I mean, it was me, Arn, Ole. I mean, whatever against the Road Warriors, Sting, Nikita. I mean. We had a hot ticket, but they got this bug that they wanted to go compete out in the West Coast, and we got killed.
Well, what do you think now? Because I mean, you were there when all the territories were there, and they all start drying up, and you look at today's landscape is hard for there's not local wrestling. I mean, there's a facility down in Orlando, but what. I'm beating a dead horse here. I miss the days of all the territories where guys could learn how to work. And when you went to New York, you'd already paid 8 to 10 years worth of dues to get that break because you were in a territory system, and they don't exist anymore.
Actually, almost 20.
Yeah,
because I started in '72.
Yeah.
But I mean, once I got there, I said, why? Because I had a chance to go in the '80s. Yeah. Vince wanted me to wrestle Savage at SummerSlam back in 1986, but I was so NWA, I just couldn't see myself leaving, and I felt like I was being disloyal, you know what I mean? And so I ended up staying, and if I look back on it now, I don't regret that, but I can only imagine the run I would have had if I came in 85 or 86, you know what I mean?
I remember as a fan back in the day, I would look at the Pro Wrestling Illustrated, the top 10, and you could look at all the federations, who the world champions were, but that NWA champion was kind of the real deal champion. Yeah,
I just saw what's his name,
George Napolitano,
not Napolitano, Bill Apter. I said, listen, what I can't stand is number one, you have me most hated number 2, put Piper ahead of me, right? Yeah. And number 3, you had Hogan number 1 as the world champion. I said, how'd that work? I rib him all the time. Because every week it changed.
Yeah, but
most popular.
But that speaks to the weight that Pro Wrestling Illustrated carried with the boys. Because that was kind of like the Bible. It was almost a shoot. And so everybody.
Well, I never looked at it, but people would bring and show me. Hogan's better than you. Give me a break.
So what happened? You started off with Bernie, broke in. You went down to NWA, WWF, TNA, back and forth, every place. But what did you think when Vern went out of business?
Oh well, the reason Vern went out of business was he wouldn't change with the time.
I mean, he had a hell of a roster.
He had a hell of a roster.
Started cherry picking that roster.
But he just wouldn't. Vern got inducted in the Hall of Fame. You know that, right?
Yes.
About 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Actually, before me, so it's been like 7 years ago. But Vern had his own way of doing business, and he wasn't going to take it.
Yeah.
But that was, he could have made a fortune, Vince offered him a lot of money.
Right.
I don't know what the number was, but I'm sure it was considerable, right? I mean, if you think about this, and this is a mind-boggling number, and I'm pretty close within $1 million or $2 million, right? Vince bought WCW for $5 or $6 million just to buy the library. Christ, the library. If I'd known you could do that, he paid $5 or $6 million for the whole company.
Right.
And he bought that library, which is priceless. And I would have found someone to buy the library.
I think that just speaks volumes of how smart and how far ahead Vince
McMahon
was
God.
than anybody else.
He bought WCW for it's between $4 and $7 million.
It's a funny story because I was there.
Anybody bought the library?
Yeah, well, I was there, and he always tells me the story because him and Ted Turner were friends, and he always.
Oh no, they weren't.
No, well, I mean they were acquaintances. He told me the story. He got a phone call from Ted. He goes, Vince, Ted Turner.
Yeah.
I just want to call and let you know I'm in the wrestling business now.
Yeah.
And Vince's answer to him was, well, that's great, Ted. I'm in the entertainment business.
Yeah.
That was the difference between Vince and Ted.
Yeah.
And, of course, the Monday Night Wars ensued.
Yeah.
And they kicked our ass for 2 years. And, finally we caught stroke. And
Steve Austin showed up. But, I mean, that's what killed me. All those guys that made all that money, right, with Vince, deserted.
Yeah.
And they ran down to WCW.
It was about the less days and guaranteed money,
No, I get it. It was guaranteed money, but how about some loyalty?
Man, I know it's a slippery slope. I mean, that was that changed.
And then they would go out on TV and say, "We're going to kick Vince's ass." They'd talk about it on TV. I mean, what
competition makes you do crazy stuff?
No, I know, but there was no reason for that. I mean, let's just coexist and do your thing. I mean, I'm going to tell you about Vince with me. He has me up in Tampa, right, doing a commercial, right? He's got a picture of Jane Fonda that says, "I love you, Nature Boy," on the mantle when they're filming me. Looks like Jane Fonda, He took the shot. He ain't afraid to. I go, I don't want Ted mad at me. Me and Ted are buddies. But him. Go, Jane Fonda, I love you, Nature Boy. Yeah. Woo. Good Lord.
Hey, what's some of the craziest stuff you've seen being on the road? Well, it was in the ring, a rib.
Well, first of all, I'm not a ribber.
Me neither.
I don't like ribbing.
I didn't rib people either.
Yeah, I never ribbed nobody.
And people didn't really rib me either because they got that.
I ribbed a few of my wives, but that's about all.
Okay, let's switch the subject. Piss on a rib. Let's talk about staying married on the road. What happened?
What happened with staying married on the road?
I haven't been able to do it.
Everything is great until they can't go with you.
Right.
It's like I've had two that just the last two that I made them. You take them to Europe, which is Europe is fun.
Yes.
Okay, you take them to Europe, and we ride in the buses and drink the beer and sing, and you know how much fun it was back then, right? I mean, God, good Lord, we couldn't wait to get to Europe. It was more fun than the States, right? We're like gods over there, and but the minute you got to leave them home, then they think you're having the same time, in the States, and you're not because you're at Raw, you're there at 12. If you're on top, you're out of there at 12. I mean, that's it.
And it's work.
It's work.
You see the glamour on TV, but the work, the grind, the BS.
Rehearse.
Yeah.
I mean, walk through. I mean, it's a long-ass day. God, you need to have a beer.
Yeah.
The greatest story I ever tell, and I told them at WrestleMania, and I like telling the story.
You got it.
Is I was married to Tiffany, right?
Yeah.
And I took her everywhere, Australia, Japan. She saw it all, right? And travel on the bus with Cena. I mean, we had a ball, right? So she's the only woman that ever got me to call from the hotel room. I don't know why I fell for it. Did once again, not thinking straight, right? I've done it. It's happened a few times, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in Indianapolis, and I'm downstairs at the bar with Mike Adamle and Cena, right? It's like midnight, and I said, I'm going to have a few beers with Cena. She said, are you ever going to grow up? I said, I don't know. What do you mean, when am I ever going to grow up? What are you talking about? When are you going to grow up and realize you need to just go to bed at night and not go out? Now, if she was with me, are you kidding? All night long, right? And I said to her, well, I'm sorry. I just, I think I've worked hard today. I deserve a couple beers. She said, well, she said, let me ask you something else. This was the home run. She goes,
okay, I got to hear
she goes, what do you have in common with someone 30 years younger than you? Talking about Cena. I said, what did you just say to me?
Oh,
and she said, I said, what do you have in common with someone 30 years younger than you? I said, you know what? I'll let you know tomorrow. Boom, and powered down the cell phone and came home at 4 o'clock in the morning. But when I got home, she'd moved out. Are you kidding me? Playing the game. Like, when we move out on me, you know what I did? Yeah. I came home and she'd just moved enough stuff out to, like, try to scare me, right?
Yeah, the scare tactic.
It was Father's Day that I got home, right? I've been on the road that week.
Timing.
And I got 2 men in a truck, which wasn't even open on Father's Day. I took everything of hers I had in the house, everything, packed it up and took it over and dumped it in our girlfriend's front yard. I never talked to her again. And then, of course, then 6 months later, she took $40,000 out of the bank account when she left, right? 6 months later, she hadn't got any money.
Yeah. So
she sues me, and I had to give her another $140,000. It didn't make any sense. And I didn't do it. It was called a no-fault divorce. Does that make sense? No, I mean, nobody cheating on anybody.
Yeah.
Just everybody think that I'm a multi-millionaire.
Hey, when you were growing up as a kid in Minnesota, probably humble beginnings, right?
Yeah, I'm very humble. My mom and dad were very conservative.
Same with me.
Yeah.
And you think as a kid, you know what? Every now and then you hear in a conversation someone says, yeah, well, I talked to my lawyer the other day. And as a kid, you're thinking, well, why are you talking to a lawyer? Why would you need a lawyer?
Yeah.
Growing up as a kid, middle-class family, South Texas, I think, man, that's great. I'll never need a lawyer because I don't understand why you would.
Yeah.
These days, I know you've had your share of lawyers. I've had a gut full of my lawyers.
Are you kidding me?
I'm sick of lawyers.
It cost me $540,000 in attorney fees to get divorced from Beth. $540,000 in 2 years.
Damn, I'd have done it for $450.
I know.
What happened? Why does the summits cost you so much?
Because it just dragged on and dragged on and dragged on, and the guy's $1,000 an hour. I had the best. I had the best one in town. God forbid me hire somebody else, right? And I was paying him $17,000 a month. And at that time, which is a story that I'm very proud of, he doesn't like me telling it. Vince lent me $800,000 to get through that time, right?
Yeah.
And of course, the one thing I did, I can say that I attribute a pat on my back. Here's Vince, right? He said, if you want to declare bankruptcy, so you don't have to pay him back, I paid him back every dime. It took me 3 years.
You're cool telling the story on the air, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but he doesn't like to be acknowledged as the person who did that, but it's the truth. He lent me $800,000, and he called me and said, hey, if you want to declare bankruptcy, not at one time, over the course of a year. And I said, no, I'll never do that. And I didn't. I paid him back every dime.
Hard time.
My whole WrestleMania check was Shawn Michaels. Gone. The biggest check I ever got in my life. I never even saw it in my hand.
It ain't what you make, it's what you say.
Yeah.
The old thing that all the promoters used to tell the guys when they come into a territory, I'm drinking beer, finally, with the Nature Boy Ric Flair, Mo Darwich, stealth mode, dialing down the controls.
Everybody blamed their marriage on me.
That's how we're going to blame marriages on Ric Flair when we come back from a word from our sponsors who keep this show on the air for free.
The world champion says we got to go out tonight. Okay, all right. God, every wife in the country hated me.
Pluto TV is playing the biggest movies every night this summer for free. Watch hit movies like The Matrix, G.I. Joe Retaliation, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Scary Movie, Runaway Bride, and more all summer long. Check out the biggest stars like The Rock, Keanu Reeves, Tom Cruise, Julia Roberts, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and more. Plus, Pluto TV has hundreds of free TV channels in English and Spanish featuring TV shows, news, sports, comedy, and more, all for free. Download the free Pluto TV app on your favorite streaming device, including Android and Apple smartphones. Pluto TV. Drop in, watch free.
Welcome to the Steve Austin Show.
I'm coming back. I'm talking to Nature Boy Ric Flair, looking at a guy man to man, face to face, in a hotel room, Los Angeles, California, at SummerSlam as we speak.
Look at his only we can look.
Yeah, man, I thought I was about to call a high spot with Rick. One of us is going through the window before this thing's over with. Nobody's bleeding yet. We're on our second beer. We're having a good time. Mo Darwish stealth mode. We're catching all this audio whoop ass, recording it for posterity and history. Rick, I got to ask you, I consider you the greatest of all time. Your favorite is Ray Stevens. Who else do you hold in high regard? I have a list here on my computer. Let me just run through a couple of names, and you drop me a little 411. We'll keep a long story short on these cats, and we're not running anybody down. Just your opinion, Luthez.
Well, something I never saw Lou wrestle.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Moving on.
But Lou was known as being a very tough guy.
A very tough guy, and certainly an important historical figure.
And I know Lou personally.
Right.
It's like the greatest story of all time. He walks in the locker room in Norfolk, right? And he's walking around shaking hands with everybody, right? Because you lived in Norfolk, Virginia, right?
Yeah.
And Luger walked over and said, "Who's Luthez?" I went. That's one of the greatest stories of all time. He goes, "Who is that guy?" I said, "It's Luthez." He said, "Who's that?" I said, "Okay, all right. We'll just move on."
Rick just hit himself in the forehead when he said that. You got to see the visual. I wish we were running video. That was great.
Are you kidding me? I don't know. You might want to Google him.
It almost reminds me of the story. Every time we used to go to Kansas City, Harley lived in Kansas City and had the basement with the pool table. Yeah. So all the guys would go over to Harley's place after the show. We'd play pool all night long and drink beer. Yeah. And Billy Gunn was down there, my old travel partner, and he beat Harley Race on his own pool table like 3 times in a row.
Billy Gunn did?
Yes. I give him the elbow like, come on, kid, goddamn, you're beating the 8-time world champ like a drum in his own house.
This was with WWE were over there?
No, it's WCW.
Yeah, I was there too. Yeah.
He's beating him like a drum in his own crib. I'm like, come on, dude, it's 8-time world champ. Let him win one.
Jeez.
Okay, well, you're number 2 on the list. Okay, I'll say the greatest of all time. Okay, let's there's Hogan, Bruno Sammartino.
Well, I have just made peace with him because.
Were you guys at odds?
No, I wrote in my book that Bruno and man, he and I are friends now. We made peace at WrestleMania because I was never mad at him, but I did say that he was in a 5-state area.
Right.
That was it, right?
I got you.
Because when I was NWA champion, he came to St. Louis one time, and nobody knew who he was.
Right. And
he was a good performer, but he didn't have to perform because he just, crushed guys. You know what I mean? He had real good matches in that, but I have nothing but respect for him. But when people ask me my opinion of Dory Funk Jr., who was a world champion, or Bruno Sammartino at the same time, I got to go with Dory. That's what it is. I don't mean it bad.
What about Frank Gotch? You ever catch any Frank Gotch?
I met Frank, but I never saw him wrestle, no.
Really?
No, I met him in Tampa, though.
He's supposed to be a tough guy.
Real tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, real tough.
Well, let me put Billy Robinson's name on this list. One of the guys that trained you.
Yeah, real tough, and a real good performer, both.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you get a chance to work with him?
Billy had Chicago one time.
Well, check it out. I kind of heard that every now and then he'd take a couple of liberties with some guys. No,
never.
No,
never with me. He treated me great. Billy and I haven't seen him in years, but I got along great with Billy.
Let's talk about this guy, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah,
Shawn Michaels. I call him the greatest in-ring performer I've ever seen. You're my favorite wrestler, and you're Shawn Michaels' favorite wrestler. Triple H is. I consider him the best performer on a night-in, night-out basis I've ever seen. What he can do athletically, the stories he can tell, the execution, never botching anything. Your thoughts on Shawn?
I just follow your track, man.
Right.
The best. And the only guy that I ever put in the same class, but I'm not saying he couldn't do it, he didn't have to, but the only guy that I've ever compared to Shawn, who I've worked with a lot, was Steamboat.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But Steamboat didn't do the flips off the top rope, and Shawn has just done some stuff I could never do.
Yeah, and when I tell people, I had such great chemistry with The Rock and Bret Hart.
Yeah.
But when I talk about me working with a pure babyface, I loved working with Ricky Steamboat because he was the guy that every now and then he would ship something in. I'm calling 90% of that match, and he's filling in all the gaps. And that's what I loved about Ricky Steamboat. You grab that headlock. You ain't got to tell him top wrist. He's going to do that's his end.
Yeah.
He's going to start coming into that top wrist lock and fighting out of it.
Same with Shawn.
Yeah.
And Shawn had that ability. When he sells, you believe it.
Yeah.
He and Steamboat are in a class by themselves, and I'll stand on the ground about that.
Talk to me about Nick Bockwinkel.
I wrestled Nick when I was NWA champion. He was the NWA champion a couple times. I thought Nick was real good, but my problem was I couldn't get over Ray Stevens at that point in time. I mean, Nick was real good. And by the way, Nick's in bad health right now. I don't know that or not. Yeah.
No, no, what's going on with
Alzheimer's.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, real bad. So he might not be with us long. But I love Nick Bockwinkel. We're very close friends. He taught me a lot.
Taught you a lot in what regard?
About the business.
Right.
We talked all the time.
Yeah.
His greatest line ever was, Nick could interview good, right? He goes,
That's why I loved his
interviews.
interviews.
He goes, for all you 8 to 5 humanoid lifers.
Humanoid lifers.
Humanoid lifers.
That's tremendous.
That was the greatest line in the world.
Ah.
He'd be talking, and he wasn't like me. He didn't get crazy and raise his voice. Just, he always dressed sharp, the scarf, the pocket scarf, and he goes, for all you 8 to 5 humanoid lifers that can't comprehend who I am. I used to die. Are you kidding me?
Hey, what are your thoughts? I never saw you work with Andre the Giant, did you?
Oh, many times.
Yeah?
God, are you kidding me?
How was it? Great?
Well, it wasn't believable, but I did. Christ. He had me take him over in a headlock in Orlando with that. I said, are you kidding me?
What year was this?
When I was NWA champion, I wrestled, number one, I wrestled against him in tag matches forever. I was his chauffeur. We started the same year in Minneapolis.
Are you kidding
John
me?
Ferrer, I couldn't wait. Vern says, take this kid around with you, right? I said, hell yeah. I took him to every bar in Chicago. We'd walk around. He couldn't speak a word of English, That's his real name, John Ferrer. He wasn't Andre the Giant then.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Did I have fun with him? I took him one night in Charlotte. I took him out. He drank 106 beers in 5 hours. I tell that story to everybody. Shoot. 5 hours, 106 beers. And Frank Valois, his manager, right? Frank drank 55.
That's a hell of a damn number for a normal human being.
At the Coliseum Motor in Charlotte in the 70s. Are you kidding me? Oh, God. Angelo Mosca looked at me and said, you keep hanging around him, you'll be overstaying your welcome bill to be 30. Boss.
Wait, what about, okay, man, Randy Savage.
I like Randy a lot.
Yeah.
And I thought Randy was a real good performer. Randy's only issue with Randy is just he lived in a world of paranoia. And I felt bad for him.
Yeah.
A very paranoid guy. Even to the end, and then he finally found happiness and got in a good place. And, here he dies having a heart attack. People want to know why I have a drink every day.
Yeah.
Here he is, Randy, all the money in the world. He never spent a dime, right?
Yeah, I heard he's
He's very frugal, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But he finally found happiness.
Yeah.
Got remarried for a year because he never got over Liz forever, right?
Really.
And then he dies driving across the bridge in Tampa.
Man, I tell you what, it was a heartbreaker for me. I just held that guy.
I love Randy.
I worked with him in Orlando.
Yeah.
I did a job for him, and it's back when did you have the book back in? Anyway, they booked a match with me in Orlando.
No, 2004 was the book.
Okay, yeah, they didn't really have much any plans for me. Worked with him one time. Would have loved to work a mainstream program with him.
Oh, Randy could work.
But he's a working bastard. Very intense. Loved the persona. Loved the promos.
Yeah.
Loved the execution.
Yeah, dig it.
But that dude, he was just a very intense human being.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
don't you hear something? Angelo Paffa, you know that, right?
Yeah, his dad.
His dad, right? When I was traveling in the '74 and that when I had no money, I used to sleep in the car with Angelo.
He was saving money.
I broke Randy and Lanny in.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, here's a guy you know and love pretty well, Roddy Piper.
Oh,
you guys just did the wife swap thing a while back.
Yeah.
And he said he had a blast.
I can't say enough about him.
I love that guy's promos. I loved what he did in the ring. He wasn't the most athletic guy in the world, but I love you don't have to be athletic. I'm just saying what he did.
He's another guy that never fell down. What are you talking about?
Well, you know what I'm saying. but he was great psychology, great promos.
He's great.
You either loved him or you hated him. Whatever he wanted you to do, he did.
You know what I wrote in my book, and this is the truth. And this is nothing against anybody, but Vince was afraid to do it clearly. But if they'd made Piper the world champion. See, back then it was him and Hogan and the 4 or 5 guys that just always battled. So much in turmoil inside, right, and all that. But I wrote in my book, if they'd ever made Roddy Piper the world champion when he was hot, I mean, they were selling out anyway, but
Right.
Piper should have had a run. He never got it.
Right.
He just, it's funny. Him and Hogan wrestled each other, and nobody went down. Good Lord. But not the best viewing.
What was?
But I love me some Hot Rod, man. Hey, let me tell you, I wish we could talk forever. I can tell you some Roddy Piper stories you wouldn't know. Me and him been like this in '78, right?
Right.
Good Lord.
You got a good story for me?
The best one is, so I go to Santo Domingo for Cologne.
And
right?
you can talk about this on the show, right?
Huh?
You can talk about it on the show, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I wouldn't, we're all clear.
Yeah.
So what happens is Roddy's doing commentary. He left, and then they went and Barnett hired him, right? So Roddy is so witty. They tried him in color commentary in Florida, and of course he killed somebody right there because he's so witty, right? So then Barnett put him up there with Gordon Soley, and Bob Armstrong had just won whatever title he had in Georgia, right?
Yeah.
And Piper said on air, he goes, "Geez, I'm happy for Bob, but those legs belong on a racehorse, not on a man, right? Bob had big upper body, no leg, right? Fired." So he calls me and said, "I ain't got a job." So I took him to Puerto Rico with me, right? But what a ball with Piper down there.
Yeah.
So we go to Santo Domingo. He didn't go on this trip. I go to Santo Domingo, right? And I'm wrestling this guy named Jack Veneno. And it's a military state to this day, right?
Yeah.
And the president's son is sitting in the front row, right? And Veneno's 5'6" and weighs 106 pounds, but he got the sleeper on me. And they go 1,001, 1,002 with my hand, right? Boom, ring the bell. Right, it's over. Right. Whoa, not to them it wasn't, man. Referee gave me the belt. I gave it back to him. He said, "Get it back." I said, "Keep it."
Yeah.
I left it there.
Yeah.
So now Cologne calls me and says, "They want you back. They're going to pay you $10,000. So I go, "Shit, $10,000. Okay, I'll go back. But I need to bring Piper with me, so I bring Piper with me." Oh, goddamn.
Why did you bring Piper with you?
Because I wanted somebody to make sure I got out of there again, okay? Nobody gets it. The first time I flew without a passport, and then they left me.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Piper, of course, you know Roddy, right?
Yeah.
He's got the American flag with him. We come marching out the door. I'm waving the American flag.
Yeah.
And then the finish was where Piper trips this guy, and I cover him. Holy shit.
Hot.
Hot? Are you kidding me? They tore down the building. Me and Piper didn't get out of the building until 2 o'clock in the morning.
What were y'all doing? Rat holed away?
We couldn't get out. They had a riot. Are you kidding? Jesus. Don't even get me going.
What was your favorite building to work? Building specifically.
The favorite building to work of my whole career?
Yeah.
Greensboro.
Greensboro. And then that was that's the same old building I still got, right?
WCW killed it.
Yeah. Did they?
Yeah. We were sold out. It's kind of like this, we went to Winston-Salem. I'm not sure. I think, Steve, you were up north. And the Bayfaces always wanted war games.
Yeah.
So they said, no, we'll do a swerve. We sold out Winston-Salem, and they had the war games. The bad guys went over, right?
Yeah.
Killed the town.
Right.
Yeah, killed the town.
But that place used to have a great atmosphere to it. And it was a
Winston-Salem?
great wrestling town, Greensboro.
Oh, Greensboro was it?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me, man? Hey, let me tell you, funny. You'll love this story. You like stories, right?
Yeah.
So Johnny was paralyzed, right?
Yeah.
So they vacated the U.S. title.
Yes.
And out of respect for Johnny Valentine, who he was, everybody came. Harley, Dory, Terry. I mean, they had everybody there, right, for the U.S. title. Sold out.
Yeah.
Take Johnny out in a wheelchair. But it was phenomenal, right? We go back at Holiday Inn, and there's a bunch of marks in the parking lot like the old days. It was heat back then, right?
Yeah.
And and 2 guys jumped on fucking Paul Jones and beat the shit out of him.
Really?
Do you remember Paul Jones?
Yeah.
Paul's a great guy. He's not a tough guy. 2 guys beat him up. So then the 2 guys, they had rented a huge banquet room for the Crockett had for the party, right? And there was about 40 of our guys in the room. And they had Klondike Bill walk out and invite these 2 guys into the party. Like, come on, join us, right?
Oh, no.
Holy shit. Those 2, I'm talking about Murdoch, Harley, man, they kicked it. Both the Briscoes were there. It was unreal. Those 2 guys are they may still be in the hospital.
They got their ass handed to
Oh,
them.
who you think? I just couldn't get part of it. I just sat back and looked and went, wahoo, my God. No one beats up one of our guys.
There was such a strong crew of workers, characters, personas, whatever you want to call it. One of the guys that really lit up there for a while and was really on fire and had a head of steam until a car accident sidelined him was Magnum TA.
I know, it's terrible. You know what happened to him?
He was on the road to being a superstar.
He was on the way to being a world champion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
how did you get along with him?
Well, very well, real close. Yeah, another kid that grew up on me, right? And Magnum was a great kid, but what happened was I was in Birmingham, Alabama, wrestling Bob Armstrong for the world title, right? Mm-hmm. But it was a draw, right? But in Ron Fuller rules, it was only a half-hour match. I never did a half-hour draw as the world champion, except when I was working for Fuller, right? Yeah. So they call me and say Magnum was in a terrible accident, right? Yeah. And I go, fuck it. So I fly in the morning, of course, and he's in the hospital. I drive down to the hospital, and at that time, Terry couldn't move nothing for a month, and he was in one of those old iron lung type deals. He wasn't on life support, and the only way he could communicate was to touch his tongue to this metal thing, right? Yeah. And he told me later on he used to lay there all night long. They wouldn't come and take care of him. I mean, he went through hell, and to this day, I just saw him at my son's funeral. I see him periodically in Charlotte. Yeah. You know, he's happy now. He's got kids and all that. Yeah. But he still is like this. I mean, it's terrible. And what he was doing, we all flew back on a jet that night, and we were all drinking like hell, right? And Terry's one of those guys that had a Porsche and liked to fly, right? Didn't have a seatbelt on. He rounded the corner on Providence Road, or on Sardis Road North, not Charlotte, where I live, right? And man, his car flew and hit a tree. You should have seen the car. I don't know how he lived through it. You know, Porsche is nothing, right? The engine's in the back, the whole front. I mean, he hit that tree, and they're all trying to say he was going, 35 miles an hour. Magnum, right? Yeah. Probably going 70 miles an hour. Woo! But then a double knockout. Both his wife and his girlfriend show up at the hospital.
Oh no!
Yeah,
and on top of that, he was
married. He was married to I can't remember her name now. Oh my God! Yeah. So then I was trying to help him out of that deal. He couldn't talk. I said, "Man, I'm trying to bail you out of this, brother, but can you come?" I'm whispering to him, "You've left a lot on my plate here, man." Good Lord,
man, that's unbelievable.
Oh God,
he was just such.
Tamara was his first wife, right?
Yeah, but such a good-looking guy.
Oh God, I mean, he had that body, he had everything, and he could work.
Hey, tell me about we got to talk about Ivan Koloff and Nikita Koloff.
Oh, I'm going to see Ivan next weekend.
Oh, man. Yeah. You're going to see Ivan?
Next weekend.
I've never met him. Please tell him I said hello.
Are you kidding?
Man, I got so much respect for that guy.
It's his birthday, the 24th. I'll be with him. We're doing a big signing up in Richmond. I'm with Pete Rose and Reggie Jackson, all those guys.
Well, tell him I said
Same company that I want you to work for at MAB.
Hey, so you still keep in contact with Nikita as well? Do you see him?
I never see Nikita.
Okay.
He's another
guy.
But
you guys had fun, though, working back in the day.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
The nightmare.
The Russians had the Russian nightmare.
The Russians
over like Rover, man.
Yeah, one night we're wrestling in Philadelphia. We're doing a double shot, Philadelphia and Baltimore, right? And the plane was late, and they go to me, of course, me, right? Can you go an hour with him? I said, go an hour with him. He's got two moves. the sickle and the sickle.
What was so funny was...
No, he's a great guy. But,
je dois Nikita Koloff.
Yeah.
Arn Anderson used to have the greatest Nikita Koloff impersonation of all time.
No, but I'll tell you something about Nikita. You know why his gimmick got over so big? He never talked.
You're right.
Come to the gym every day and work out, he'd never talk. Yeah. Like he didn't understand English.
Yeah.
And people bought it.
Yeah. I traveled with him for a little while. I traveled with him for a while. He was a frugal cat. It was me and him and Black Bart. And
he saved. You know what he did one day? They called him and they said he hadn't cashed a check in a year.
He what?
He hadn't cashed a check in a year.
What was he doing? Rat-holing him?
No, just rat-holing him. Yeah.
I did that one time, thinking I would have got to pay taxes on him. I was like, what the fuck?
No, it wasn't avoiding that. He was just saving his money.
That's how he saved it?
Yeah, he didn't cash a check. He's a green kid from Minneapolis, Eddie Sharkey School.
Yeah.
What do you know? Eddie didn't teach him nothing. I love Eddie, but
yeah,
it's like the Road Warriors. They came in town one day, and I saw them, and the guy goes to me, "These are the Road Warriors," and I go, "Okay, Hawk and Mike," and of course, I really became close friends with them.
Right.
But Rude came out of that school, Eddie Sharkey School, and all that, right? But Eddie didn't teach him anything about, etiquette and money. And who taught anybody back then? I mean, give me a break.
Hey, well, what'd you think when the Road Warriors rolled onto the scene? Because they came out of AWA.
Yep.
And went down to NWA. And, man, I tell you what, they
were on fire. There's another great tag team.
Holy shit.
We left them off the list.
Yeah, and I always put them on my list. I'm glad we got to them.
Well,
tell him, big man.
Yeah, what an interview. Well,
but those guys with the no-sell stuff, the power stuff, the looks, the promos, the spikes, the makeup, the personas, it was just, man, they were money.
Yeah, the thing, we cut them off. We just go out there and take a press slam for about an hour or a half, I'm being hypothetical, 15 minutes. And what they would do is they'd sell Arn's DDT because it was so good.
Right.
We cut one of them off with the DDT, and they sold great and everything. But, brother, let me tell you something. Being in the War Games with Mike Hagstrand, the last one coming in, ain't any fun at all, brother. Mike was out there. Of course, we're spitting on him. Mike was the last one in. When Mike came in, when he broke JJ's collarbone, they lifted JJ up of all the people, animal on his shoulders, and Mike dove off the top rope with that clothesline, broke JJ's collarbone. We're all got the hell beat out of it. I go, Dusty, can we let you or somebody else come in second and their last, not Mike? Good Lord.
He came in a little amped up.
Oh, my God.
And he had those traps that were about a foot tall.
Yeah.
And, man, coming down the ramp, it was just intimidation. I was in awe when those guys. And, of course,
it was a phenomenal
this
gimmick.
was the heyday. Yeah. This was when wrestling was real.
In the 80s, man. Yeah. It was real in the War Games, let me tell you. We did 47 war games in a row. It's called the Great American Bash.
Yeah.
47 in a row. You walk in the locker room and there's a list checked by who's going to do this, right? Are you kidding me? I dig myself 47 times. I said, why am I never off the list?
I remember being in USWA for a long time. I was traveling with Tom Pritchard, and he was kind of lead heel. And, man, he had an open wound on his head. You could basically just thump him, and, the stomach started bleeding.
Yeah. Oh, Tom's a great guy.
Tom, he gave me a lot of great advice traveling down the road with him. Interesting character.
Did he ever tell you the time I made him do 500 free squats at the pool in Birmingham?
No, but this would be a great story for me to end the show on. Tell me.
Well, I was working for Fuller, and Birmingham was one of their towns, right? And we spent the night. I refused to drive back after 300 miles from Pensacola, where the office was, right? So I got Thomas spend the night in Birmingham, then got up next morning and said, what he said, what are you going to do for work? I said, 500 free squats, 200 push-ups. I did every day, right? Yeah. Religiously, right? He couldn't walk for a week. He said, I hate you, you son of a bitch. I said, hey, it's how you get in condition, man. No, he's a great guy. Good Lord. And brother Bruce, great guy too, God.
Oh, yeah, I've been trying to get Bruce on the show. I loved him when he was doing Brother Love.
Oh, my God,
I love the televangelism thing. Yeah. So when he started doing that, I mean, I was like, I bought into that hook, line, and sinker.
Plus, Bruce's wife had serious cancer. You know that, right? Yeah. And Bruce got cancer.
Yeah.
Did you know that, too?
No.
Yeah, Bruce got it, too. He's in remission. I mean, he's been through a lot, man.
Hey, how many blade jobs you figure you've done?
Oh, I don't know. Let me see. 40 years... 35 years every night? I don't know. You tell me.
You know what is so funny and maybe a little twisted. I don't want to say sick.
When I broke into business, you know what they said? Red is green.
Red is green.
No problem, buddy.
I used to
show me how to put it on here.
I used to travel down the road, and for a while I was working a lot with Dustin Rhodes down in
Dustin, yeah.
And man, we'd have some very snug matches, and I love working with him.
Dustin can really work.
Yes, he can. And we were very good friends.
So can Cody.
Yeah. So anyway, I remember we rolled into Phoenix, Arizona one time, and Grizz was the agent running the show. And me and Dustin like to get a little color when we were working with each other. So Dustin went up to Grizz and said, hey, Grizz, you think me and Steve might be able to go out there and get a little bit of color?
Yeah.
And Grizz says, looked out between the curtains. There wasn't nobody there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might help the place. Y'all go ahead. Boy, we come back double color, bleeding like a sumbitch. Yeah. And sure enough, I ran right into Luger, who was standing there. And when he saw me, he just didn't know what to think. Yeah. It just happened. I don't think he got it. Yeah. But one of the things that always got me, when you went into that ring, that dirty-ass canvas that guys had sweat on, had blood on, there's blood stains there. They barely washed it.
We're lucky we're not all dead.
Yeah. you guys been walking around the dressing room on piss stains and, showers and then through the aisle, all the bullshit. But, once you get on that mat, there's nothing like a smell of a wrestling canvas. Yeah. And it makes me feel at home. There's nothing like it.
You just you want to hear the home run story?
This is it, and we're going home with Ric Flair.
Home run story, right? So, Ashley and Reed's mom, right?
Yeah.
Calls Tiffany, right? And said, I need you to come over to the house. Because they actually got along okay, right? And so she goes, I was watching the History Channel last night, and one of 100 million people has this gene where they never get sick or never get up. I said, Rick should have AIDS. He should have hepatitis C. He's going to outlive us both. We're not going to get our insurance money. I got the gene. Nice. I called Hunter and said, I guess I got the gene. So that's like a joke going on now. The History Channel. I got the gene.
They're saying the damn mats are the damn dirtiest things in the world. But once you get in there and you get on top of that thing and you start wrestling,
you don't even think about it.
But you love it because the smell. That's home.
Yeah.
And hell, talking about smelling a dirty ass, bloody, sweaty, piss-stained mat. I'm talking with the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Yeah. We hooked up last night at the WWE 2K14 video game release, and things started off there and ended up to here, and I've been talking to him for several hours. We're going to make a couple of, as you guys have noticed, one more time, that's a piece of shit. Anyway, wrapping this whole thing up, Rick, we got together last night at the WWE 2K14 video game release. We had a blast. We was talking in the dressing room before we went out there, the green room rather, and I was like, God, we better save some of this for the show. Yeah. And man, this is the longest I've ever sat down and talked with you, and the time that I've known you. And you and I have never traveled the roads together. No. We've wrestled together a couple of times.
We've had a few beers together.
Yeah, but but nothing really sit down with no bar, people bothering us.
Because when guys like you and I socialize, we don't talk about business.
Right.
You're talking about something else.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Yeah. Anything.
There's two things you don't do. You don't talk about politics, the business, or religion when you're drinking.
Yeah, you're right about that.
There's no way to win.
Yeah, there's no way to win.
All you do, you end up knocking somebody you don't want to knock.
And it's a divisive line. Yeah. Everybody has their beliefs. Yeah. But you know what? I appreciate you doing the show, and I've enjoyed talking to you because, again, I'm telling Mo, I was doing my research, thinking about all this stuff, and I said, man, I'm just going to talk to this guy because I'm a fan, and I love the business, and we both do. So I know that my listeners can be happy that you came on the show. We dropped so much 411. If you ever like to be a fly on the wall, this was a conversation that you're lucky you were that fly. I want to thank everybody for downloading the show. Rick, you got anything else? I've been meaning to push your Twitter account. It's Ric Flair Nature Boy, and it's Ric Flair NATR Boy on Twitter. And, of course, you can go to ricflair.com. And he also had his book he wrote a long time ago. He ain't read, I ain't read. It's called To Be the Man. It's about the greatest professional wrestler that ever walked on God's green earth. And that's the bottom line because I'm saying it. You got any parting words, any words of wisdom, anything you'd like to get off your chest, say?
I'll just say thank you for this moment because I adore you as a human being, as a man. And I would hope that we both, while I'm not getting married again, I hope you stay married.
I am.
Okay. Yeah. We're both in there 4 times, right? So
yes, sir.
Yeah, you stay married. I'm 4-0. So okay. And that's really enjoyed this, and it brings back memories of what I consider the greatest career in the world. I think I've had it.
You have, and I had a good time doing it as well. For the Nature Boy Ric Flair, it's Steve Austin. I'm going to come back with Gimme Mo Darwich and wrap his whole shenanigan
We
up.
are limiting riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a guns. That tonight, Steve's not going to kiss some girl in L.A. and make her cry. Steve's going home.
I'm going home to Maria to take my wife out to eat. Nature Boy Ric Flair, the greatest of all time.
Thank you for joining us for another classic episode of The Steve Austin Show. Please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and tell your friends. For more Steve Austin Show, go to PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy, Big Brother Jake, a.k.a. Jake Warner. My government name. Check it out. I host a show called the Big Brother Jake Podcast. and I've taken my talents to the biggest and baddest platform on the planet. That's right, baby, PodcastOne. My show is unique as I talk about everything. Life, sports, entertainment, being a single dad juggling several jobs. I'm a hot mess, but it's damn entertaining. Subscribe and review now on Apple Podcasts and listen on PodcastOne or wherever you get your podcasts.